Please remain standing for the arrival of the inspection party.
EMS Honorary, read 4. EMS Honorary. Halt! Prepare to deposit colors. Deposit colors. Left turn. Forward march.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in singing our Canadian national anthem.
Escort to the colors. Present arms.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Slow march. Left turn. Forward march.
I believe the paramedics are the hands of healing of our great Lord. And so as you do what you are called to do, see it as an incredible, incredible opportunity. The good book says that we are to rejoice with those who are rejoicing. And today, we celebrate your graduation. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Creator God, the God of the seasons, we thank you for your faithfulness to us. For Lord, we know that as you are in charge of the changing of the seasons, you are with us during the change of seasons in our personal lives. I thank you, O God, for each of these new graduates. I thank you for the abilities and talents, gifts that you've given to them as they have decided to offer them back to you as they serve others. We pray, O God, that indeed you would bless their hands as they touch with healing. Give them clear minds as they decide what they need to do. And Lord, I pray that you'd keep them safe and bring them home after every shift to be with their loved ones. And we ask Toronto EMS Piper Bill McCracken to play Amazing Grace as we give thanks for these lives. On my left, I have the privilege to introduce EMS Chief Paul Raftis, Dr. Rick Verbeek of the Sunnybrook Osler Center for Pre-Hospital Care, Deputy City Manager Brenda Patterson, and Toronto Honorary EMS Chief Major General Richard Romer. On my right, our Deputy Chiefs, Gary Wright, Alan Craig, Gord McEachen, Cindy Nicholson, and Frank Herlihy. Representing the Toronto Police Service, Deputy Chief Mike Federico. Representing the Toronto Fire Service, Acting Fire Chief Ron. Representing the Ministry of Health, Mr. Blake Forsyth, Senior Field Manager, Marjorie Wilcox, Senior Manager, also from the Ministry of Health, and Mr. Rob Burgess, Senior Director, Sunnybrook Osler Center for Pre-Hospital Care. I would also like to acknowledge the EMS management staff and training staff who are here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, 180 years ago, on June the 22nd, 1832, and I remember that day, the town of York, which became Toronto in 1834, Board of Health started a public ambulance service to care for victims of a cholera outbreak. The first Toronto ambulance medic was a fellow by the name of John Blevins. John had the notoriety of also being the first paid city emergency services employee. Our first mayor, William Lyon Mackenzie, also worked on this ambulance. Toronto's ambulance service has come a long way from those days when John cared for the ill citizens of York. Happy 180th birthday, Toronto Emergency Medical Services. Our first speaker this afternoon is Toronto EMS Chief Paul Raftis.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Welcome to EMS headquarters. And today we're honored to honor the graduating class of our 23 newly hired paramedics for Toronto EMS. We're also celebrating the graduation of 9 of our folks from our primary care program co-sponsored by Toronto Employment and Social Services. We're really excited about that, and we congratulate you. And we need to recognize a few people. Of course, our medical director, Dr. Rick Verbeek, our deputy city manager and boss, Brenda Patterson, and of course, our honorary chief, Major General Richard Romer. These folks are very special people. They live very busy lives, and we appreciate them being here today and spending time and celebrating with us. So thank you very much. Our leadership team, we really appreciate everyone attending today, but also members of our allied services that are here. and most importantly, our family and our friends. Toronto EMS really is a family, and you are very much a part of what we do here by supporting your loved ones and supporting what they do, the work that they do. So again, a thank you to you. And finally, I'd like to recognize the EMS education staff who have spent so much time helping our paramedics with their training and to become prepared for what will be a very exciting career for them. So thank you very much as well. So to our graduates, first of all, congratulations. We had a great chat yesterday, and you know, you've completed a really challenging process. People don't know, but 700 folks applied for these 24 positions. It's a lot of people wanting to be part of the EMS family, and you guys were right at the top of that group, and you should be commended. I believe you've chosen to work for the best paramedic service in North America. And some people would argue with me about that, but I really believe that that's the case. Toronto EMS is the best paramedic service to work for. So you should be very proud of yourselves for what you've done so far, and I know you're going to do exceptionally well. Remember how you feel right now. I remember how I feel, or how I felt when I was in your shoes, and it wasn't that long ago. You know, every career brings challenges, and you will have your challenges. But what's different about working for Toronto EMS is that every day you have an opportunity to make a difference in someone's life. That doesn't mean that you're going to save every patient that you see, but you're going to make it, it's your opportunity to make a difference by holding their hand, telling their family everything's going to be okay, we're going to take care of you. So the most important part of this job is your kind, compassionate care. So take advantage of that, and when you come into work every day, look in the mirror and smile and know that you are going to make a difference. You've received the best training. We look at our training staff, but now it's up to you to take that knowledge and your training and really apply it in the field. And again, you know, the skills are important, what you know is important, but what's most important is how you treat people. What people will remember is not what drug you gave them or that, you know, you defibrillated or shocked their family member's heart. They'll remember how you interacted with them and how kind and compassionate you were. So you're part of our team now. We're relying on you to represent Toronto EMS with pride every time you put on our uniform. Okay? Your job is to provide kind, professional, and compassionate service, and I know you're going to do that. Again, we believe we're the best service, and that our team plays a vital role in the healthcare system. And so we're going to do that through innovation and working together with our partners in the other allied services and within the healthcare system. And so on behalf of the senior team here, on behalf of all of us at Toronto EMS, the men and women who are out there providing that service every day, we congratulate you on this accomplishment. We thank your friends and your families for supporting you, and we look forward to you being part of our team, and all the best as you start your first shift tomorrow. We're looking forward to you being out there. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, Chief Raftis. In 2010, Toronto EMS partnered with Toronto Employment and Social Services to provide a primary care paramedic program to a select group of candidates who are residents of the City of Toronto. This training opportunity came as a result of a federal grant given to Toronto Employment and Social Services to assist a group of identified Toronto residents. The program helped to mitigate the barriers that prevent potential applicants from being able to access employment opportunities with Toronto EMS and other EMS services. That sounds like a cheering squad. Toronto EMS received approval from the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care to provide a primary care paramedic program to candidates who, on successful completion of the program, would be eligible to write the Advanced Emergency Medical Care Assistant Certification exam. On November the 1st, 2010, the first Toronto EMS primary care paramedic program took off. It was scheduled to run for 15 months. To date, of the 9 successful students who have graduated, 2 have been hired with Toronto EMS, 2 with Peel EMS, and others have found work with transfer companies. Toronto paramedics Martin Johnson, Jason Benaim, Gabe Koo, Superintendent Michael Roffe, researched and developed and taught the primary care paramedic program along with the assistance of the education and development team. The dedication from them and the staff at Toronto Employment and Social Services, General Manager Heather McVicker, Manager Mary Barata, and Supervisor Yasmin Fouds, have worked together with the students to make this program a big success. To honor our paramedic primary care graduates, I would ask Chief Raftis, Brenda Patterson, General Romer, and Dr. Verbeek to come forward and present the certificates. John Coronel. John arrived in Canada in 2010 and previously worked as a registered nurse for 3 years in the Philippines. John indicated he would like to give the greatest gratitude to all people who gave him the opportunity and supported us throughout the program. Supported them throughout the program. Lucas Eves. Lucas was born and raised in Huttonville, Ontario, and graduated from Huttonville Public School and North Peel Secondary. Lucas enjoys the challenge of helping people. Hernan Garcia. Hernan developed interest in helping people when in high school, when he began to work with marginalized communities and later volunteered at the Red Cross. Hernan attended the Technological University of Pereira for 7 years and worked in the healthcare system in Colombia for 6 years. Coming to Canada, his dream was to continue working in the healthcare field, which he will now do with Toronto EMS. Javier Gil is a graduate of medicine from Pontificia Bolivariana, University of Medellin, Colombia, and he is licensed to practice medicine in Spain. He has over 10 years of experience as a physician in different settings, such as pre-hospital care emergencies, emergency room physician, surgery assistant, obstetrics, etc. Javier managed the Health Prevention and Promotion Program for acute diarrhea illnesses and acute respiratory illnesses, and he belonged to the group of laparoscopic surgery at Yaramals Hospital, a level 2 hospital in Colombia. He also volunteered many times with Colombian Air Patrol, which is a non-profit organization that carry out healthcare services to remote areas in that country. After working several years in the ER, he engaged with EMI, Immediate Emergency Medical, a well-recognized private company who provide emergency pre-hospital care to a population of more than 3.5 million people in his native city. Javier Gil is a member of the board as part of the Communication Committee of International Doctors Network in Toronto. Katka was born in Prague, the Czech Republic, and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Toronto. Katka is fluent in English, French, Czech, and she says gibberish. I'm doing pretty good gibberish today. She should understand me. got a cord there. Diego Macias. Diego is a graduate of Toronto EMS Christopher J. Rubis Center for EMS Studies, PCP Program Paramedic course. Born in Monterrey, Mexico, he immigrated to Canada in 2002 and over the last 5 years worked as a community worker for several community centers in the city of Toronto. He was introduced to paramedicine after a personal mishap, and his interest for being a paramedic grew from there. Diego has also been hired by Toronto EMS. Well, that's obvious. Kim Rosemay. Kim was born and raised in Toronto. She worked at Bloor View Hospital for Children in Toronto for 2 years while beginning nursing school at Ryerson. Ratan Singh. Ratan was born and raised in Punjab, India, and at 13 years of age, I just had to giggle because the way this was written said he was born and raised in Punjab, India at 13 years of age. At 13 years of age, he moved to Canada with his parents. He studied economics at the University of Toronto and speaks 4 languages, including English. He has recently just been hired with Peel Region EMS. One of the key partners in the professional development of our graduates are the staff of Sunnybrook Osler Center for Pre-Hospital Care. And it is with great pleasure that I introduce our second speaker, Dr. Rick Verbeek, Medical Director of Sunnybrook Osler Center for Pre-Hospital Care.
So Chief Raftis used to be one of my paramedics before he became chief, and I think I taught him well because the speech that he gave, I think we must have had the same speechwriter because he has said several of the things that I intend to say, and maybe I won't be able to say them quite so eloquently, but Paul, you seem to have learned your lessons well. So Chief Raftis and General Romer and all our distinguished guests, including our newest paramedics, welcome to Toronto EMS. You guys are the new paramedics of the day, and you're starting a new career and a new journey. And I think from my perspective, I want to let you know what I think a paramedic is, or what it means to be a paramedic. Well, what it means in many circumstances is to be working anywhere, at any time of day or night. In fact, I think most of you are starting your first shift as night shift, so maybe it should be any time of night, and under any conditions. And it means working with a sense of exhilaration, not really knowing what the next call is going to bring. It can mean bringing a new life into the world. It can certainly mean saving a life, and certainly in Toronto, this happens every day. Our paramedics save lives every day. But it can also mean doing your best to prevent a life from leaving this world, and then turning to their loved ones to say why it can't be so. And then helping the family understand that it is okay as they watch their loved one take that final step across that great divide. Being a paramedic, it's a calling. I think Paul, Chief Raft just said that. He's so right. But it's also a body of specialized knowledge of which you have plenty right now, but there's more to come. Because the commitment that you've taken is also a responsibility, and it's a responsibility for lifelong learning, because as much as you guys have learned, As much as you know right now, it's actually starting your first shift that your knowledge as a paramedic is actually going to really show, and that what you've learned is going to be ever so more important every day that you're out there. I was actually asked by a paramedic once, a paramedic in training, said, how do I become the best paramedic possible? And I think what I said, in fact, I quite remember what I said. I remember saying, learn your medical directives, maintain your skills, drive safely, and I probably said something like, well, don't hurt anybody or don't harm anybody. But what I wish I had said was, always remember that being a paramedic or that paramedicine is a profession, and that your motto as you're working should be service beyond self. Your presence here today, your families, your loved ones, is a reflection of commitment and sacrifice. And as Chief Rafta said, you wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the commitment and the support of so many people in your lives. Your loved ones, your classmates, your clinical instructors, your preceptors. And trust me, because they turn you into such good paramedics, they might make my life a lot easier, and I deeply appreciate their contributions to your education. You guys truly have entered the top ranks of a profession, truly in the best EMS service in North America. And during your day-to-day work, you will profoundly affect the lives of the patients that you encounter. And as importantly, you will be profoundly affected by them. I want you to learn from your patients, and above all, to remember that patients and their families call you in their time of greatest need, and they will tell you things that they will tell no one else. At times, and in fact, when someone calls 911, they literally are placing their well-being and at times their lives into your capable hands, and it's your duty and your honor to every time to provide them with care to the best of your ability and to the best of your knowledge. I just want to actually turn to the audience of your paramedic spouse, friend, brother, sister, partner, mother, father. There will be times where your paramedic will be literally standing on the top of the world. And at those times, celebrate with them, perhaps a life saved. But there will also be times where there is darkness and where the weight of the world is on their shoulders, where they feel that even their best wasn't good enough. Even then, celebrate with your paramedic and celebrate that they were there when they were needed most. I want you to remember what I just said. Celebrate the good times, but don't forget to celebrate the bad times, because in the world of paramedicine, the good times outweigh the bad times, but those bad times will be there, and that's when they'll need your support the most. Now, as important as these things are that I've spoken of, I actually, believe it or not, demand even more of you guys. I challenge you to be the leaders of tomorrow. I challenge you to partner with the base hospital, not only to practice paramedicine, but actually to define the future of paramedicine. And quite simply, I demand of you the advancement of knowledge. Because without the advancement of knowledge, leaders simply become followers. A profession becomes nothing more than a job, and service above self simply becomes a burden. So I've asked of you to join the incredible leadership of Toronto EMS, which has had quite a long and enduring tradition of partnership with Sunnybrook Base Hospital in advancing the knowledge of paramedicine. So in closing, I offer you a paraphrase from a book. It's called On the Path to Spiritual Fitness. And I actually did a substitution where I substituted the word persons with paramedics. And the paraphrase, it opens a chapter that's entitled Service and Spirituality. So it says that paramedics are dedicated to the service of others, and that paramedics feel that the purpose of life is to help people and to contribute as much as possible to the improvement of the world and its people. Paramedics believe that they should have the same interest in other people's lives as they do in their own. Paramedics feel that the most stimulating experiences in life are times when they're reaching out to help someone. Paramedics constantly should ask themselves, how can I be of service? So whether you choose the word spirituality, which was in the title of this chapter, or professionalism, which perhaps applies to paramedicine, let the quality of professionalism be your guiding principle in what you do. You truly have chosen a noble profession, and I sincerely hope that throughout your career you will be nobly rewarded by the service that you provide to others. Personally, I'm proud to be your medical director, but I'm even more proud to be your colleague as you begin your personal journey through the world of paramedicine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Verbeek. We will now welcome the newest paramedics to Toronto EMS. They are joining, my script says, one of the finest. That's not true. They are joining the finest EMS service in the world. Jean-Louis Barnes. Jean was born in the Philippines and lived in Egypt and the United Arab Emirates during grade school, before coming to Canada after graduating from high school. He attended the University of Toronto taking courses in biology, then attended Sheridan College in the Chemical Engineering Technology program. JL, as they call him, is a graduate of the Humber College Paramedic program. He can speak French, Tagalog, and is hoping to learn Mandarin soon. JL advised that being hired as a paramedic with Toronto EMS was the proudest moment of his life. He further advises, knowledge is never useless, and we can never stop learning. Samantha Batten. Uxbridge native Samantha is a graduate of the Humber College Paramedic course. She is also a graduate of McMaster University, receiving a Bachelor of Science Kinesiology degree. Samantha has always played competitive soccer and always been intrigued with the paramedic job and the challenges and excitement that goes along with it. David Selajewski. David is a 2011 graduate of the Centennial College Paramedic program and is currently finishing his Bachelor of Science degree at the University of Toronto. David has been working for Peel Regional Paramedic Services for the last year before defecting here. Sydney Chu. Sydney is a graduate of the Joint Paramedicine program at the University of Toronto and Centennial College. Sydney, who has always had respect and admiration for emergency services, couldn't imagine doing anything else. He is an avid swimmer and also enjoys playing volleyball in his time off. Victoria Tori Cuthbertson. Victoria is a graduate of the Centennial College Paramedic Corps program. Tori entered this career because she enjoys being both mentally and physically challenged, helping people. She has a background working with kids, especially with children with exceptionalities. Outside EMS, Tori enjoys camping, backpacking, canoeing, baking, and movies. I was looking around for the cookies. I don't see any. Hernan Garcia. And of course, Hernan is a graduate of the Toronto EMS paramedic program. Paul Ha. Paul was born and raised in Toronto, is a graduate of the Centennial College paramedic course. He also worked for the County of Simcoe Paramedic Services. Extremely happy to be given the opportunity to work for the world's best EMS service. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask Mr. Paul Hess to come to the podium, please. This is a surprise for Paul, a shock for Paul. He didn't expect to be called. And he's very shy. Please come up.
He's one of our new paramedics? Yes.
Paul is our newest paramedic. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Hess, a retired paramedic, is most pleased and happy to be here to help present his son, Zach Hess, with his graduation certificate. He may look like his mom, but he's just like his dad. Georgetown native Zach is a graduate of the Humber College paramedic program. After finishing university for business and realizing it wasn't what he was looking for, Zach became interested in healthcare, which was fueled by both a job as a porter at St. Joseph's Health Center, as well as his father working as a paramedic with Toronto EMS for 38 years. You told me you were 39. Wow. Zach indicated he loves the pace of the job and is looking forward to practicing paramedicine. Kevin Huang. Kevin is a graduate of the Humber College paramedic program. He has also graduated from York University. Kevin, who is an avid adventure seeker, is involved in competitive swimming. He is proud to be with Toronto EMS and hopes to make real and positive differences in people's lives. I bet this next fella gets so tired of hearing this. So I'm not going to say, yes I am. Elvis Joseph. Come on up and sing us a song. Elvis is a graduate of the Centennial College paramedic course. Elvis feels that EMS is a continuously advancing field with plenty of research involvement, and this motivated him to turn to this profession. He is fluent in English and Tamil. Elvis also has an honors degree, a Bachelor of Science, from the University of Toronto. While completing his studies at the University of Toronto, he was a volunteer as a campus emergency first responder and a volunteer research assistant at St. Michael's Hospital. Elvis is also a CPR and standard first aid instructor for Life Saving Society. Colin Q. Vancouver native Colin is a graduate of the Humber College Paramedic Program. In his spare time, he enjoys playing and watching hockey. A Canucks fan?
I apologize for it.
Oh, that's going to change. Go to Montreal. Plus, he enjoys snowboarding and hopes to learn how to surf and ride a motorcycle. And you go to Montreal because we don't have a hockey team. Jesse Lee. Jessie, who was raised in Calgary, is a graduate of the Humber College Paramedic course. She came to Toronto to study engineering at the University of Toronto and has previously worked in the supply chain of industry. It was while attending University of Toronto that she became interested in patient care and decided to enroll in the paramedic program at Humber College. Jessie advised that the dynamic challenges of the calls and the ability to make a tangible difference to someone during their greatest time of need gives a feeling of joy and satisfaction that money just cannot buy. Christopher McDonald. Chris, who was born in New Brunswick, moved to Ontario seeking education and career opportunities and graduated from the Centennial College Paramedic Program. He is looking forward to the dynamic environment paramedics practice in and to become involved in a discipline which is evolving so rapidly. In his spare time, Chris enjoys walking, exercising, camping, and family time. Diego Macias. Diego is a graduate of Toronto EMS Christopher J. Rubis Center for EMS Studies, PCP Program Paramedic course. Diego has also been hired by Toronto EMS. Well, that's obvious.
Many people that contributed, and there are just simply too many to mention. Some are here today, some have retired, and some have moved into other roles within Toronto EMS, but they all deserve a great amount of credit. This program was in the works long before we came along, and I want you to know that a great many people had to come together to make this wonderful program happen for us, and we are truly grateful for it, and we'll always appreciate it. I would like to mention a few people that we interacted with on a regular basis. There's Mary Barada and Yasmin Folds from Toronto Social Services. They worked tirelessly to make sure that we had all the resources we needed to succeed and cheered for us every step of the way. And then there's Commander Russ Olnick and all of the other EMS education team, many of whom are here today. Chief Raftis, Deputy Chief Nicholson, as well as the rest of upper management. Without you, it would not have been possible, and we felt your support throughout the program. And there's Michael Rafi. Who is Michael? He was our everything. He was the director, the facilitator, the liaison, the IT support, fitness trainer, dietitian, instructor, therapist, disciplinarian, mediator, cheerleader, mechanic, the list goes on. Then there's Jason Benaim, who made sure that we knew the blood flow through the heart, inside out and backwards. His PowerPoints were invaluable, and he stayed up late preparing Jeopardy games for us and crafting the wittiest category names that always made us chuckle. He always had to play referee as well when we played them because they got pretty heated. And there's Gabe Koo, who always organized extra fitness activities. He always organized extra fitness activities for us, like going swimming, which entailed the unforeseen occupational hazard of seeing one of his students in a one-size-too-small Speedo. He always managed to incorporate ninjas into scenarios somehow as well, every chance he got. And Martin Johnson, who made himself available for questions and extra practice, but also risked life and limb to ensure authenticity of scenarios, like the time he almost got laryngitis and hypothermia while playing a patient who had fallen into a dumpster lying on the cold metal surface, screaming for help while we tried to figure out the best way to extricate him. The instructors were beyond dedicated. They came in early, they stayed late. They made themselves available for extra tutorials, scenarios, workouts, or even just a chat. They didn't yell at us much when we screwed up. They pushed us hard, but believed in us. They led us by example, giving us some pretty big boots to fill. Sometimes I think the testing process was harder on them than on us because they really wanted us so very much to succeed. We know they poured their heart and souls into us and into this program, and we are profoundly grateful. And these things I say about our instructors are impressive on the face of it, but when you realize that they were not only teaching the courses for the first time, but were also building the program and doing all of the administrative work behind the scenes as well, you see how truly awe-inspiring they are. And I think they're just a small representation of all of Toronto EMS. I think that speaks to the family of Toronto EMS in general. And new recruits, you should be very proud to be part of this new family. I congratulate you. I would also like to extend thank you to our family and friends who also had to make sacrifices, deal with our absences, deal with our moods. They went through this roller coaster ride with us, the ups and downs, the late nights, the missed family meals, the missed celebrations. Mike recognized these pressures that we faced from our loved ones who couldn't understand why we were spending so much time at school. So last year he organized, along with the other instructors, a family day where everyone brought in their significant others and we were able to show them what we do, how we do it. Kids got to play in the ambulance and try out the equipment, while the adults gained an appreciation for the rigors we faced and were more tolerant when we had to stay late. So while we had all of this encouragement and support, we are ultimately the ones who did it, and we need to congratulate ourselves as well. Here's where we finally get to give ourselves a little pat on the back. To say that these 15 months have been intense is a great understatement. Mentally, physically, and emotionally, we fought on many fronts. We came from very diverse backgrounds and situations. We each face special challenges in addition to the ones of the program. Some are embarking on a second career, some have young kids at home, some were looking after aging parents, while others were newly relocating a long way from home. Reflective of the multiculturalism of the city, we were a diverse group in all in all, we come from 9 different countries and speak a total of 12 languages. For all but a few in the class, English is our second language. We each brought with us different skills and experience from our past lives. Each and every one of us had other life commitments, yet we somehow succeeded in juggling it all: the tests, the essays, presentations, clinicals, preceptorship, OSCEs, and scenarios. We struggled, we excelled, and we supported one another along the way for 15 months straight. As is often the case when people spend this much time together, there were trials, tribulations, and tears, but there were also a lot of love and laughs, and that's what I will always remember. And I'd like to share one of these moments with you. We had a funny, as you know, paramedicine is fraught with acronyms. There's MCAPI, CAB, BVM, CPR, ACR, DNR, the list goes on. And they're hard to keep straight when English is your first language, but imagine when it's your second language. One day in class, there was a note on the board that said, FYI, you will all have to redo your scenarios next week. One of the students for whom English is a second language looked at it quizzically, then finally got up the nerve to ask us what FYI stands for. So we replied that it meant for your information, and the student smiled, visibly relieved. We had to ask, what did you think that it meant? And very sheepishly, he said he thought it may have meant a certain 4-letter word, you idiot. Everyone burst into uncontrollable laughter. Now, to give you some context, any intensive educational program like this naturally has its ebbs and flows, and this was definitely a low point for us. We had just had a period where we had tests, essays, presentations, and we were exhausted. Then we had to do scenarios, and we all managed to fail some aspect of it. We're such a team, all for one and all for one for all. So the newfound explanation was very apropos and would have been entirely justified, and we recognized it. I'm generally not a fan of swearing, but somehow that very appropriate use of the F-bomb magically diffused the palpable tension in the room. Interestingly, I just read an article on a study that concluded that swearing increases pain tolerance. And Jay, I've got a reference for you if you want to check that later. They said that swearing actually increases our tolerance for pain. So this could possibly affect our protocols in the future, I'm not sure. So obviously the skills that are learned in school are vitally important, but as people have said in their other speeches, pre-hospital care is so much more than CPR, splinting, and giving drugs. It's also things like pulling up a blanket to keep the patient warm. It's adjusting the backrest to make them more comfortable. It's listening to the patient's concerns and can be as simple as a warm smile and a reassuring touch. This brings me back to Aristotle's quote, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." These seemingly small gestures really add up, and I witnessed this time and time again on the road. Patients who were in a great deal of pain laughing at a joke the paramedic told them to distract them from it. Patients thanking us repeatedly for being there, helping them, and mostly for caring. Over and over again, I heard, "You people are great. The paramedics took such good care of my mother, my brother, my child." I saw firsthand the impact of these actions, and I'm proud to be joining the ranks of you people who choose to be there for people in difficult times and who really make a difference. In this profession, 2 + 2 does indeed make 5, unless we're calculating drug dosages. Thank you very much.
Our paramedic valedictorian will now say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the paramedic valedictorian, Zach Hess.
It's going to be a hard speech to follow, but I'll try. So, I've been given the honor to represent my graduating class, which we have named Team Swag. Basically, if you don't know what swag is, it's a term all the cool kids are using to describe the way one carries himself, specifically confidence, style, which will relate to professionalism, and demeanor. I realize I've barely begun to truly understand what it takes to be a paramedic day in and day out, but I do believe these are factors that will make you successful on the job. I think the whole recruit class would agree with me when I say this last month has gone by pretty fast, and we've had some amazing opportunities. The whole process was so well run, and it was truly remarkable to see how much work the orientation group put into it. Our education leaders, John Lane, Ron Kwolek, and Gary Ross, just did an absolutely amazing job. From the first day, we were organized into color codes and pitted against each other in competitions. This built friendship, trust, and respect within the class, and gave us a chance to get to know each other a little better. You can find Ilka and ask her about the one competition that included making a commercial to sell everyday items such as staplers, tapes, and other objects. I'd have a hard time believing she's laughed any harder than that in her life. Poor Hernan was taped to a chair with swag tape in the green team's commercial, but it's totally worth it when they won. Then there's Diego's team with their Spanish commercial interpretation, who came a close second. Okay? Now, it wasn't all fun and games, of course. In between all the laughs and excitement, we learned so much and had the chance to meet so many amazing people. I hope to thank each and every one of you personally as we grow together in Toronto EMS. But for now, on behalf of the whole recruitment class, thank you so much for all the knowledge, all the experience that you've given us. It will be invaluable to us as we begin our careers in Toronto. So just to finish that thought, we did cover a variety of topics ranging everywhere from professionalism, or swag, as we'll now call it, to proper documentation and everything in between. We even had Harry Levinter teach us situational awareness by kicking over a garbage can and throwing a cup of water into the air. Needless to say, the orientation staff went all out for us. So I covered the fun and games of some of the class lessons, but we also had the opportunity to spend a lot of days outside of the classroom. We actually went to Wilson Station, crawled up under the subways. This is a great experience, and it really just goes to show us that the TEMS team cares about its family's safety. We got to see so many things that probably a lot of people won't get to. We also went to the skid pad to have some no-pressure practice. Another one of our helpers, Ron Hill, got to play the role as Dad, as he wore his Tilly hat and put his arm around us as we did donuts and a gator. May have given him a bit of a hard time for it, but it just goes to show how close we got and that it is a really big family here. So now that I have mentioned family, I should probably say, if anyone's hoping to say hello to Paul Hess, you better do it quick. He's known to get to that cake table pretty fast, faster than he used to drive. Now, the event that caused us the most stress, I would have to say, was the MCI. It was masterminded by Dave, better known as Hack. After seeing a baby's head on a stick, Harmony, who should be here, stealing all of our equipment, and all the other sights and sounds, I can honestly say I'm afraid of that man. It was an unbelievable event, and I can only imagine how much work went into setting it up. So again, thank everybody for that. And I also saw many of my classmates step up to the plate and do an absolutely amazing job, considering the situation anyways. It's been a great experience, and I can't believe it's over. Once again, I just want to thank everyone who helped out. Thank you for donating your time, your energy, and your knowledge in an attempt to make us better and prepare us for the road. Thank you, everybody.
To the paramedics, when I was in the Royal Canadian Air Force being trained as a medic, one of our flight sergeants said something to me, and I've carried that through everything I've done in my life. When you put on that paramedic uniform, you are no longer Zach Hess, you are no longer Leo Leach, you are no longer Paul Raftis. You are Toronto EMS. That's who people see. And be proud to wear it and honored to wear it. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our Honorary Chief, Major General Richard Romer, to address our new staff. You will notice in the program a bio detailing General Romer's very interesting career. Ladies and gentlemen, my hero, Major General Richard Romer.
Chief, distinguished guests, particularly the great group over here that are from so many parts of service to Toronto. It is a pleasure and privilege for me to stand here and try to figure what to say to you that will be of any value. Well, I'm going to take a little shot. I am probably the only person in this room who has served in the military, who has served in the police. I am the Honorary Deputy Commissioner of the OPP, and I work at it. I have finished 10 years as Chair of the Collingwood Police Services Board. And here I am with this great organization. There are one or two others, but I've forgotten what they are. But the reality is, I want to say to you that you're in an organization now, fully qualified, which cooperates with and operates with the other service organizations that serve Toronto. You work with the police. You work with the fire. There's no competition here. It's total cooperation. My daughter, Ann Romer, is on CP24, a station which always is giving out the news as it happens. And whenever there's an accident somewhere, people are going to turn up who are service people. They're going to be EMS. They're going to be police. They're going to be fire. And they all work together for the same single purpose, and that is to serve the people that need it at the moment, to serve the people of Toronto across the board. You're in a very cooperative organization, So when you progress through your profession, and if you've been around for 20 years or 30 years, by the way, if you've been around for 20 years or 30 years, I will present to you your service medal. I've been doing that for some time. I've pinned on a few hundred of them at the big banquet each year when the conventions take place. Now I'm off the topic, but the reality is you're in an organization that is there to cooperate with the others that serve Toronto. This is the most magnificent city anywhere. This is the most magnificent province anywhere. This is the most magnificent country anywhere. And a lot of people have worked hard to make it that way, and you're going to be part of the team that continues to keep it that way. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Major General Romer. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful afternoon for me, and I hope for you. As we witness our friends and family members continue to grow in their chosen professions, especially when their chosen profession is one which serves our community. We also recognize those that went the extra mile. It is people like these that make Toronto the great place it is. On behalf of Chief Raftis, I would also like to invite each of you to join our graduates for light refreshments in the classrooms just around past the security desk following the conclusion of this afternoon's activities. I would ask you at this time just to please rise as we escort the inspecting party out.